Welcome to What's Right with the World, everyone. So today we are talking about, a serious subject, suicide. But it does have a good slant on it, which is a nice change. So fill us in, Ben.
Well, if it didn't have a good slant on it, I don't think we would probably be talking about it on What's Right with the World. But this article is from BBC News from yesterday, which is September 4th. So, spoiler alert, we're recording this on September 5th. Suicide rate among UK men, the lowest since 1981. Suicide rates among men in the UK are at their lowest point for more than 30 years, official figures show. In 2017, there were 4,383 male suicides, and the rate was 15.5% per 100,000 men, down from 20 in the late 80s. Data of the Office of National Statistics reveal. Although the male rate is falling, men still account for 3/4 of the suicides in the UK, however. The female rate has remained stable for the past 10 years. The Samaritan said that recent efforts to prevent suicide have helped by reducing the stigma in others.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So that's good. So that means more people are reaching out for help when they're getting to that place. And the stigma is starting to be removed because, there's a lot of attention being put on suicide prevention, which is good because it needs it. It's, boy, there is, you hear about it a lot. And, my town, I was told by somebody in the psychology field that I graduated with, that my town that I grew up in Massachusetts has the highest suicide rate in Massachusetts, the little town I grew up in. And so it's like, I know a lot of people. So, whenever I hear suicide, and I lost a close friend of mine recently. So it's when I hear about it, my ears perk up. And it's, you see it fairly regularly on social media. Hey, suicide awareness, there's text numbers now. So there's a lot of attention being drawn to the solution. And, fortunately, at least in the UK, we're seeing how, reducing the stigma that's attached to it and putting more effort into support systems out there is actually having a positive effect over there, which is wonderful to hear.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that the article mentioned was breaking the stigmas. And mental health stigmas are such a huge battle, and the fact that people who are struggling with things don't necessarily believe that they can talk about it, or that it makes them weak, or that it's embarrassing, and I get that. I get all of that. I get why it is, and I get that society has not made that any easier, mostly, But the fact that there is a fight now against the stigmas and letting people know that it's okay,
Right.
I think is a really big deal.
Yeah, and we're coming, we're coming from a backlog of society for thousands of years where you didn't talk about your problems. You stuffed it, and so of course, that stigma is going to be there. And where, as a general rule, as a life coach, one of the things I see most often with people is we're constantly comparing our insides to everybody else's outsides. We feel like crap inside, where, some people are at the contemplating suicide, and they look at everybody else and they go, everybody else is fine. Well, they're not fine. When you're thinking about suicide as you're having coffee in a diner, nobody is looking at you going, oh my God, that dude's all messed up. They're going, look, this guy seems fine. He's just sitting here having coffee in a diner, and I'm over here all messed up. So they're thinking that you're fine, and you're thinking that they're fine. And fact is there's inner turmoil in both. So, so we have to stop, and that's what feeds the stigma, is us constantly comparing our insides to everybody else's outsides. They might look fine on the outside, but we've all got stuff that we're working on and struggling with. And I mean, I've been suicidal. Oh my God. I mean, I spent years suicidal before I woke up. So like, this is nothing new to me. I don't, like I literally went to bed praying that I would die every night. So like, it's, for years. So this isn't something I haven't experienced. I get it, and so, but there is hope, and, understanding that lots of people have been there. And then people look at me and they go, oh, geez, look at Glenn. He's a life coach. He's got it all together. He just moved to Florida because that's where he wanted to be. Oh, oh, it's so wonderful. No, sometimes I have struggles. This move down here has been tough, where I've gotten really down and had to pull myself out. It happens, and if we all know that it happens, and we talk about it and we go, it's okay. It's okay to feel like that there's no hope. You just want to, when you're there, talk about it, and when you're sitting there going, I feel like there's no hope, and somebody else has been there too. And they go, I know exactly how you feel. I've been there too. All of a sudden It's like, wow, okay. And then all of a sudden the ears open up.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they go, wait, let me tell you, how I felt. I used to pray for a truck, 18-wheeler to jackknife in front of me, because that was kind of like not my fault. So then people wouldn't know that I killed myself, and then nobody would feel bad, and I wouldn't take anybody out in the like all this warped freaking thinking I used to have. And like, if I share that with somebody, they go, oh, what? You know what my fantasy death is? It's this, Then all of a sudden you start connecting on this dysfunctional, whacked out level, but you're connecting. And then you're not alone. And then well, lunatic with the jackknife 18-wheeler, Glenn, he found another way. So that if there's hope for him, maybe there's hope for me, and that's how we can help people out of these situations. But if there's so much stigma and there's no place for people to reach out when they're feeling like this, that's, and they feel like they're alone, that's the biggest problem. So I think that, it's kind of talking it out like this. I guess it's no surprise why, lowering the stigma and expanding the places for people to reach out for help, why that's actually having a positive effect. Of course it would.
Absolutely. And as always, when we talk about this subject, we're going to post, the number for suicide awareness and the suicide hotline and the website and all of that information in the description of the episode. It is something that we talk about. We've talked about a few times on the show already, just the subject in general. But this is definitely some good news. And
it's nice to have good news.
It is. It's nice to have good news. Yeah. The UK is heading in a good direction, and that's awesome. So, that's it. And if you want some personal help with this situation, or somebody who might, I can't recommend reaching out to Glenn enough. He's a fantastic life coach and can really help people through stuff like this. So.
Yeah, and it's when I was going through it, it was like the worst, but then now when you're on the other side, it's the best, because, all the things that are hurting you, when you're caught up in them, they turn to your biggest assets when you're on the other side of them. So that's one of my biggest assets, that I did go through that, and I can identify with people. So yeah, reach out to me or anybody, and whatever you feel comfortable with. So thanks for listening, everybody, and we will talk with you soon.